You're about to witness a seismic event.
You are now fucking with Skitbags Radio.
Get your protection, bitches.
Nah, we can't use that. Nah.
Hello out there in the universe. Welcome to Skitbags Radio. What's up, everybody?
Hi.
Yeah. Say hello, guys. Awesome.
We're all here for a great day.
We are indeed. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for listening. We have a special day for you. It is Moi's birthday. And in the studio, I am joined by the people that I cherish the most, aside from my co-host and my Skitbags fam, which is Neil the Great, Mr. C the Enforcer, and Gabaricious. They are all taking the day off, and I'm joined by my family and one of my best friends right here. We got video DJing to my right, the one who brought me into this world, the lovely, the amazing, the beautiful mother, Mrs. Kim Mueller in the house. What's up, Mom?
How you doing, buddy? Happy birthday.
There you go. Thanks, darling. Appreciate you. And to her right, we are joined by none other than the man himself, the myth, the fucking legend. I know I say that all the time, but let me tell you the preface to this gentleman right here. The one who has always had my back without ever vocalizing it. I love him so much. My dear brother, thank you so much for being on the fucking radio show. Brian Keith Mueller himself. What's up, B?
Thanks for having me. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you, brother. I love you. And now, rounding out the table, we got sitting right across from me, my Tampa brethren, Mr. Keith fucking Sutliff. Writer, director, producer of Mason Brothers, and soon coming out to a theater near you, The Refuge. What's up, Keith?
What's up, man? Happy birthday. Glad to be here and celebrate the, how old are you now?
31. This is big 3-1. You came out with me last year, and I thought last year was such a over-the-top fiasco 30th birthday that I was like, I'm gonna lay low this year. And that's wise, but it feels more at home. That's what I like about it. So thank you for coming. You were doing pre-production stuff when I texted you earlier, and we had, some complications with a pre-scheduled guest and some flights, but luckily enough, Keith is always family, and he comes through to save the day. So thank you, brother.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here. Enjoying the Sunday. Sunday's fun day, right?
There you go. We're going to get fun after this, that's for sure.
Right, man.
Well, we start every episode with a breakdown of a movie or TV show, and today we're going to rewind the clocks a little bit and take you back to Jurassic World, because Jurassic World Forbidden Kingdom, is that the name of the new one?
The new one.
Yeah, that one just dropped, so I'll just make sure I got the name right. And we want to break down the original leading up to the now. So, we won't have too many spoilers alerts. A couple of us have seen both, but let's get into the nitty gritty of it, man. First of all, what did you guys think of the original Jurassic Park? Like when that dropped in 93, right?
93. I looked up last night, yeah.
93 changed the game cinematically with CGI and the way shots are directed. Keith, what do you think about all that? What's your take on the original first?
Looking back on it, it's a classic movie from 1993. The graphics, that movie holds up to today. If it came out today, as far as graphics and CGI and everything, how it was shot. Obviously, it was shot on film back then, but it would hold up today and still do. I think box office breaking numbers, obviously.
It was just on like TBS a couple days ago, and I watched it on the edited version on TV on cable, and I was like, "Damn, man, this does hold up."
You know what's funny? I go on. I do obviously work in the film industry too, like a lot of people here, and I go on IMDb a lot. I look at movies and I look at their ratings and stuff and see what people rate them. So you can go and see what the rating is. And Jurassic Park has like an 8.1 rating, which is really good because most people give like a good movie. Like I've noticed there's a trend. Usually there's like a good movie. It's usually rated about a 6.0 or a high 5, in the high 5s. But if it's like an excellent movie, it's usually rated, in the 8s. There's really ever a movie rated over 8. So you see some of the classics, some of the great movies, Inception, Jurassic Park, like all these great classics, are rated up there. So,
With the most surprising thing about the first one to me is that they did all this on film.
yeah.
Like now they can just CGI and just throw it all into digital.
Which
and
I don't like
it's-
as much.
I don't either. And this brings us to a point. What did you guys think of Jurassic World compared to the first one? Anybody can chime in here, by the way. This is a conversation.
Don't really have any thoughts. I do know that on the new one, I was watching a little behind the scenes of it.
I saw that.
They have a lot of animatronic rather than digital. So maybe they're trying to get back into that. I don't know. Maybe Jim Henson's people got a hold of it or something. Got it a little more real life like.
They did that on the new Star Wars too. They did a lot of the scenes and the fight scenes with animatronic and actual stormtroopers instead of I remember Attack of the Clones or Clone Wars and all that shit was like CGI clones and stuff. No, they had actual troopers dressed up and they did special real effects with like live explosions and things like that to bring it back to more real. And I think, when we went to the 90s, we were so fascinated with CGI as an audience. We were like, oh my God, this is amazing. We've never seen anything like this before. But then we got to the point where it was like overused and overdone, and then now I think we're coming back to tread that middle ground. And that's what I think, I like Jurassic World. I'll tell you the best part about Jurassic World, in my opinion, was Chris Pratt. Because I love Chris Pratt as an actor and as a performer, and he's just hilarious and awesome. But he played that character not as the typical joke setting Chris Pratt, ha ha ha, funny. He played it as more of a stoic, more of like kind of he got those little jabs of jokes in with those little one-liners. But if you look at his face, he's like determined and like I'm the Raptor King, that kind of thing. What do you think?
No, I thought it was good. I don't remember all the bits and parts of it. It's been a few years since I've seen it because it came out a few years ago from what I remember. But it's an interesting point you guys say about the animatronic. You're talking about, so it's all robotic, right? You say.
Actually, on the behind the scenes I was watching, there's a scene where one of the raptors is hurt, and they have him in like the medic tent or whatever, and there's actual like 10 guys underneath it moving each part of the raptor while it's on this medical table. So I guess kind of robotic, but it's still hand.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that. Yeah, that's how it looks better. I thought the first Jurassic Park, it was phenomenal. Everything was all like the robotic, most of it.
Right.
And it looked a lot better. It looked a lot more realistic than the CGI. I like that. I prefer that a lot better. But I didn't know the new Star Wars was like that either. I hope they get more into that now with these films. 'Cause I'm sure they'll do another Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah.
You make like 10
Yeah.
They're gonna sell. It's like Star Wars. They're gonna sell. You can always keep making them. But the Jurassic Park, that was my favorite one. The first one brings back so many memories. As a young kid, and just phenomenal. I remember having all the toys and growing up.
Yeah, man. That was when we were like
Kids.
children growing up. That was like the infatuation.
Right.
But I think that what do you guys think about the trend from Jurassic Park to Lost World to the third, and then now the revamp with Jurassic World, and then the second one? I know all of you haven't seen the second one, but I feel like in the franchise, the first one killed it. The second one, it's like, where do you go from there? It's like, what you already have all this craziness going on in a theme park of dinosaurs on an island. So what do you got to do? You got to bring it to San Diego. You got to like bring it to the city. And then the third one is just like, okay, we go back to the island. And like that,
I don't think I ever saw the third one.
Don't worry, you're not missing much.
Yeah. It wasn't that great. Not the.
Yeah, but I think they just wanted to keep the franchise going because obviously, because of the first one, it was still a moneymaker, obviously, But as far as Jurassic World, like, it's hard to stand on the shoulder of giants and then go farther. It really is, because you have to live up to being as good or better than the original. And the original was so groundbreaking. That's like saying, let's make another E.T.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
That'll do. Or let's do another Close Encounters of the Third Kind sequel. Sorry to jump Spielberg everywhere, but
I want to I do want to piggyback on that because you just brought up a good thing. I was reading an article on this. There's really only been one franchise there's really been only one franchise what has successfully done that I know of. Well, two actually, and one is the Terminator series. Terminator 2 actually, for a lot of film critics, was a lot better than the first one. Than Terminator. Terminator was a classic film. I don't know if it was on Jurassic Park's level, but it was like an awesome film back in the 80s. And the second one blew it out of the water, and it was like groundbreaking, like way better. The sequel is way better. Usually the sequel's not as good as the first one for a lot of series.
Yeah.
The same thing with Aliens. The first Alien was awesome with Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, but Aliens
was like on their level.
Yeah, like that I feel like is the groundbreaker of that franchise.
Right. I think half that, because I know film, I think half it, some of it had to do with the budget. They had bigger budgets than the second one.
Yeah,
so
of course.
They had more in the script. They were able to elaborate more with, a higher budget. So I think that helped out.
And filmmaking was expensive back then.
Really expensive.
So you really needed that high budget to accomplish your goals as a writer, as a director, or whatever. Imagine working in that framework. And I know Jurassic Park was, even the original, was still a big budget. But I mean, Spielberg had a lot under his belt and stuff. But I mean, you got to think like you said, like if you're trying to fit so much revolutionary stuff into a small box, like, here's a good comparison. Jurassic Park in the 90s was what Avatar is now.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because of all the technical advancements, because of the cost, maybe not, elaborate in storyline, and definitely not in length, but as far as the scale, as far as the vision being so big, and what he really did, if you look at the first one, man, a lot of those shots don't incorporate like the CGI. Like the CGI and the dinosaurs are there as it's like a horror movie. It's like they're there as like the suspense of a dinosaur. Like that is what creates the tension. Like when the foot drops from the T-Rex and he's looking at it in the puddle and it's just doom, doom, and you see the ripple. Like you don't see a fucking dinosaur, but everybody knows that's what's coming. Yeah. So it's those tools in filmmaking are really, I think, what launched that franchise, because they still had the bigger budget, at least when Jurassic Park's, perspective. Like in 2 and 3, they had the big budgets, but they didn't accomplish the goals of the first.
Right.
What do you think about the new one? Do you think they tried to accomplish the goals? I mean, they obviously tried, but I don't know if they did.
We'll see. I don't know until I see it. I want to see it.
No, I meant Jurassic World, not the Forbidden Kingdom that's out now. Like the first one with Chris Pratt. Yeah.
You think I'm sorry, rephrase the question. You think they accomplished what they did?
I think, from a filmmaking perspective, do you think they accomplished what they could have, comparatively to the first Jurassic Park? Did they live up to that?
Well, yes and no. I think it's hard to, just because some of it's subjective, because I love the robotic. I hate CGI. I don't like it. I really don't. So, I thought it was a good story and stuff. I thought the first one, from that series, none of the other ones are as good as the first one, in my opinion. But I think they did a job well done. Mission accomplished, what they're probably trying to put out there. It was a good movie overall.
They tried to take it back to the first one, kind of like the new Star Wars did. Right. Like the new Star Wars really mirrored Episode 4, A New Hope, like the first 70s, 1978, 1979 Star Wars or whatever, in story and in trying to do it in visual and things like that. But in Jurassic World, the first one with Chris Pratt, they opened up the world again. They opened up the theme park again, and then what happens? The chaos ensues because something breaks at the theme park, and then everyone dies. It's basically the same story. Yeah. They just added a new twist on it, and that new twist was following the different characters. And notice they still had 2 kids. Yeah. He still had 2 kids. It was all the story writing elements were the same. It was really just the visuals and the practical effects that were kind of different.
True, it's a good point. But in the first one, the park wasn't open yet, right? They were just trying it out.
Correct. Yeah, they were. Yeah, but this one, they're like, the park's open. We got it right, guys. Everything's good. And then they're like, on Dominus Rex. Like this fucking mutant super killing machine that they never think anything's going to go wrong with.
But that's interesting, because if I was gonna write something, or just, that's what I would have done too. Is like, well, let's show it with the park actually open. That would be a good story, because you can show a lot more with the people there and a lot more suspense, because there's actually a lot more people there.
Well, it's relatable. It's like when that scene of all those pterodactyls flying down, where people are just walking in the park and they're lifting them up and then dropping them in the shark tank and shit. You can relate. You'd be like, bro, I've been to SeaWorld. Like I've been to fucking Disney World. I know what it's like to walk in a park. Would it be terrifying to have a dinosaur just come lift you off your feet and throw you in a lion's cage? Like, oh my God. That aspect, I think, was definitely more grounding. But I don't know. I liked it. I could tell you, without giving away spoilers, the new one, Forbidden Kingdom, in my opinion, is better than the previous one.
I hope. I should be. I mean, I would like. I want to see it.
It's a different movie, bro. It's half of the movie, 2/3 of the movie occur on the island. The rest occurs in a mansion, in a house. Yeah, it's like a murder mystery.
Really?
Yeah, the last half of the movie takes a total turn. And what it does, story writing, is it opens up the world to develop the franchise into so many offshoots.
Really?
Yeah, it's like they wrote this to plant the seeds to do a lot more. But they can do a lot more now because they have more room to work with. But it was cool. The director of this movie, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's a horror director. He directs horror movies. So he took the Jurassic World vision and that theme and kind of condensed it into a horror movie within a house, if that makes sense. It really didn't, I didn't expect it at all. And you don't get any of that from the trailers. Like if you watch the trailers, it's all like mountain exploding with volcano and, fucking animals dying and we got to rescue these animals. That's the premise of the movie, is they go back to the island to save the species because the volcano on the island's blowing up. So the dinosaurs are essentially going to become extinct again, and the humans are going to go back and try to save them. So there's a whole other, the third act of the movie really defines itself by like a whodunit, which is kind of cool. And it's very closely knit. It's more character based than it is like action and thrills, which you would think in a Jurassic movie, your third act is the biggest act. That's when everything goes down. That's when the resolution and everybody gets saved or everybody dies or whatever the fuck it is, Yeah. That's when all the crazy shit happens. But I think this third act was reminiscent of a first act to a whole new series, if that makes sense.
That's interesting. I didn't, no, so basically... So they're going back to save the dinosaurs.
Yeah, the premise of the movie is like you start out and Malcolm, who is Jeff Goldblum, is going around the United Nations and is an expert on this. And he's like, these dinosaurs should be left alone. We should never have done this in the first place. Basically his whole MO. And it just so happens that the company, InGen, has been taken over and developed by a new head and a mentor of whatever Hammond and the other guys, and they know that they still have this park, but nothing's there. Like there's no attractions there, no humans are there. The dinosaurs are just left alone. And then this volcano on the island explodes and it's going to destroy the whole island. So they have to make a choice whether or not to go save these dinosaurs. And obviously Jeff Goldblum's character is like, oh, they're going extinct again? Oh, so nature's telling us twice. Oh, fuck those dudes. Yeah, let them burn. Which, honestly, is what I would say, too. I don't know about you guys, but how do you feel about fucking dinosaurs just running around this world in your backyard?
It's Darwinism.
Yes! Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Asteroid. Yeah, shoot, I'd fire another fucking asteroid at that island if I could.
Yeah, but I don't like it either.
It's just too intense. So anyways, there's obviously the people who are on the side of, oh, these animals are a rare thing, we must protect them. And they go back to the island in an attempt to capture and save some of the animals, some of the specific breeds, and bring them back to the States. And almost like a zoo, but almost to at least have the DNA to procreate. Because you got to remember, the whole thing is premised around this genetic research. And this genetic research that InGen has done is supposed to be groundbreaking to change the world. And not only now in this movie, they're using the technology that they use to make dinosaurs, they're using it to help humans. So they're using it to cure diseases and even possibly clone people or save people from dying by growing their organs and shit like that. So there's a lot of incentive to keep this for the benefit of humanity and for the compassion of humanity. But at the same time, it's every time humans and these fucking dinosaurs get in the same room together, people die. It's how hard do you have
Inevitable.
to think?
But the franchise will live, and it'll be very profitable because we as parents are going to tap into all of that for all of our kids the same way we did back in the day when you guys were young.
It's a moneymaker.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
And it's nostalgic too, because a lot of people only remember, like at least the younger generations, they don't know of like the original Star Wars or the original Jurassic Park. Their only exposure to this is like with these new movies. So for us being, having a little piece of both world and like, we saw the first and now we see the latter, as I feel like we're holders to the canon, to the culture of that script. And we're like, if you do it, you got to do it right. You got to make sure it has the same emotion that I felt when I was a kid. Otherwise, it's just another bullshit franchise like you were talking about. Another bullshit sequel.
Yeah.
Was Spielberg involved in these new ones?
I think he was producing, but I don't think he had any hand in directing.
No hands on.
I don't know. That's a good question that we'll have to ask our research intern when she comes back from vacation.
Yeah, I don't know that answer.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, I don't know who the director is.
Whatever, the director from the first Jurassic World with Chris Pratt is different than the director from Forbidden Kingdom.
Really?
I do know that. Yes.
Change of pace.
Yeah, well, it's totally cinematically, totally different style movie, dude. Like
Really?
the shots are different, the edits are different, the cuts, everything is different, and in a better way, man. It's very much more reminiscent of if a horror movie and an action movie mixed together. That's kind of what it would be.
I like that. So what's taking place at the mansion? It's just kind of like trying to figure out who this guy who set up something.
All right, everybody out there listening, if you haven't seen Jurassic World Forbidden Kingdom, pause this because I'm gonna get into some spoilers.
Well,
First of all,
briefly.
it's Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen King. What did I say?
Forbidden.
Forbidden Kingdom.
Same thing, right?
Get it right.
I just went to Google Forbidden Kingdom and a Jackie Chan movie popped up.
Not good.
That's where my head was at. Sorry, Jackie. Anyways, Fallen Kingdom. That makes a lot more sense, actually, than Forbidden Kingdom, when you think about it. So, yeah, the plotline of the movie is they go back to save these dinosaurs, and while they're at the island, the head of this corporation, who is seemingly doing what you think as an audience member, he's doing what is right, like he's the moral compass in this, and trying to save these for a moral reason, he secretly hires like another team to go down and get the bones of the Indominus Rex underwater. Remember when the Indominus Rex got pulled underwater in Jurassic World, the original, like Chris Pratt one? They go down and they basically saw off the bones so they can get a DNA sample so they can replicate it. And this guy the head of the company, brings all these dinosaurs back to his fucking billion-dollar mansion in Europe somewhere. It's something reminiscent of the Rothschilds. Like it's just crazy old Gothic, compound. And underground, he's got like a whole lab. Like imagine Cabin in the Woods. Like, underground whole high-tech facility, cages with dinosaurs and like this is where they're doing all the genetic research now, basically. So he brings them back there so he can take the DNA and take these dinosaurs and sell them on the black market as weapons to other military countries. So that's where the whodunit is you don't really realize that until 2/3 of the way through the movie. And what it is the guy who was partners with Hammond, I can't remember the character's name, but he's the one who has taken over InGen, and he's on like his deathbed, but he can't, for some reason, medical reason, he could never procreate. And his wife died, and I don't remember how. Maybe it was on one of the islands or something. I can't remember if it was related to the plot or whatever. But his wife died, or something like that. His daughter died. One of his close females in his life died, and he cloned her. And that was his granddaughter. Throughout the whole movie, you think that this granddaughter of this elderly man is what it is, but it's really not. It's like his daughter or his wife or something like that. But he used the technology from the dinosaurs to clone her. And like, spoiler alert, but the fucking end of the movie is like they're all poised with a task of whether or not to kill these dinosaurs. Like all the dinosaurs are in this lab underground, and some gas gets released by accident from an explosion, and they're all about to suffocate and die. And the characters, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and this young girl, have the choice to release the doors and open these dinosaurs into the wild, or let them die. And that's the choice at the end of the movie. And Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt are like, no, they struggle with it. At first, she's about to push it, and then she's like, no, I'm just going to let him die because it'd be too crazy otherwise. But then they turn their back, and they're like walking up to the window and watching all these dinosaurs suffer and die. And it's very emotional. And then the little girl, the clone, presses the button and opens the door and releases all the dinosaurs into the wild.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then that's where it leads, and that's the end of the movie. So like that's where it sets it up for the rest of the franchise, and that's where it's like, oh shit! And her excuse was like, I can't let them die. I'm like them.
So she knew
like,
she was a clone.
Yeah. It came out during this crazy whodunit in the mansion scene, like, you know, that she was a clone. She found out by like hiding behind some bookshelves while the people were talking and shit like that. So all this culminates, like the whole first part of the movie is very action, like big, grand, and the rest of it is scaled into this mansion. But then you still have like a fucking velociraptor being let out of a cage and just murking somebody from around a hall. So you still got that, but it's much more of like a drama suspense. And the third act of this sets up everything else for the rest of the franchise. Like we have not seen the last, like this is going to go Disney, man. They're going to go fucking TV show. They're setting it up for everything. They can, the world, it's hence the name Jurassic World now. Like the whole world now can be infested with dinosaurs naturally evolving.
They got to make back that $71 billion they just spent on Fox.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, leave it to Disney to own the world. Big way. By the way, shout out to Disney because not only do you own everything, and I want to work with you, but you also bought the UFC and you own ESPN basically right now. So yeah, hey, you guys are awesome. Cheers. Shameless plug. But I agree, man. Like it's crazy how now Disney owns Fox. So one of the best jokes that I saw running around was that all Sigourney Weaver's character in fucking Aliens is now a Disney princess.
A Disney princess.
Technically, yeah.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know, that's going a little far, but maybe.
No, they bought the franchise. They own it. So does any Marvel character is now a Disney princess. So it's
They're trying to do the same thing with Jurassic World as they are with the Marvel movies, like or the Avengers.
Well, it's a business. People don't.
Show business.
People forget it's called show business, and I gotta give it to them. Hats off to them. They're fucking wicked smart over at Disney, yo. Like their ability to franchise merchandise. I mean, they've been doing it for so long. They know the tricks of the trade, yo. Think about like all the toys that you had growing up, all the cartoons, everything. It touches every aspect of everyone's life. I don't know if there's a human on this planet other than that lives in like a tribe somewhere where they don't have communication, but the majority of the people on this planet, you could just say Disney and they know what the fuck you're talking about,
And they got the money. So.
They have the trillions now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big thing about all their employees protesting.
Protesting what?
Funds being paid.
Really?
You mean from the theme parks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they've always been like that. So, we love you,
They
Disney,
make
but
it. They bake it. They're just not giving it out right now, I guess.
Well, what are they protesting? They're not getting paid enough? Obviously?
yeah, in Anaheim specifically.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
That's
The thing about Disney is
Unfortunately, but
they're a fucking monopoly. When they as far as their theme park division what goes, they went to Orlando and they bought a bunch of land. And not only did they buy the land, they have so much land in Orlando and so much land in Anaheim that they own a city count, like they are their own municipality. So they have a city council, they have their own police force, they have their own laws that govern them. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
When you're driving and like, I don't know if you've ever been to like the Midwest or anything like that, but if you're driving and you like come up into Cleveland, it'll say Cleveland Incorporated since blah, 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 because cities can become incorporated entities. So that's basically what these cities did. And once they do that, they can control their own laws and they control their minimum wage. They can control the benefits. They basically have their hands in everything, which also means they have their hands in tax incentives. So in particular with Florida and tourism, they write the fucking laws because they're not going to allow, like they bring in so much money and so much traffic. Orlando would not exist if it wasn't for Disney. Straight up. Like the fucking city's in the middle of a swamp. There's nothing there to do
It's
except
hot,
for
dude.
yeah.
Really hot.
Yeah.
Orlando's-
Fuck Orlando.
I went to school there. Dude. I went to UCF there, and it was
Yeah.
summertime. It was like August, September when school starting. It's like, oh man,
So you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, they're amazing at what they do business wise, but with every part of that, there comes a cost. And I wish they would take care of their employees better. It does suck that they do that, but that's also how they earn enough money to buy Fox to make these franchises and do that. Is there a middle ground? Probably. Is there a way to do both? Probably. I don't know because I'm not, you know, in the nit and gritty of that specifics. But, you know, at the same time, it's like, I love you for bringing me Marvel and I love you for bringing me Infinity War. But I also would love you even more if, you know, your fucking workers could afford to live in the same city where they work.
That's crazy. I didn't know they were having all those problems.
They're like fucking employees are like going on strike and shit.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're striking and protesting.
You know what? I always say the same thing. It's like, if you treat your employees well and you pay them well, get a good benefit and stuff, very rarely, you know, people are going to be happy for the most part. You know, of course, you could have a bad culture at like a, you know, a job where like the environment of people or, you know, attitudes or the way people are acting or attitude sort of the you know, the company or whatever. But for the most part, you pay people well and give good benefits and stuff and treat them well as a company, then you're gonna have, obviously, that's common sense, you're gonna have, you know, happy people.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good business philosophy. And I think you do that exceptionally well on your films, by the way.
Thank you. I hope, man. I hope my cast and crew like me.
Well, you
Well-
want people in your camp that give 110%, love what they do, and want to be there. So you need to compensate that somehow.
Right. No, I agree 100%.
Well, last time you were on, we had the pleasure of talking about the Mason Brothers, right? It had just come out, and or not just come out. It had come out a couple months before that.
6 months.
But we talked about the process of making that, and now you were embarking on your endeavor of The Refuge, your second feature film, which you have written, are producing, and are directing, and are starring in. Again.
Jack of all trades, man. That's the only way you gotta, you know, that's the only way you can do it. in this
That's a
town.
lot.
It
That's
is.
good.
Big hat.
It is.
Kudos.
Yeah, truthfully. And, you know, we talked about this, but the fact that you did Mason Brothers opened up so many doors for you to do Refuge. I mean, talk about the auditions that you and I did alone.
Yes.
Like, when we sat
You were there
in,
with me, yeah.
we had so much talent come in.
A ton of talent. More talent I've ever seen. You guys should have seen it. It was awesome. right?
Amazing,
That was-
amazing actors and
Yes.
actresses.
We
Amazing.
had a hard time. Imagine with one of the characters. Remember, well, I don't want to mention character names, but there was a male character role came in. And they were all
Yes.
great, and I was like, wow, what do we do?
And there's the pop. In case you guys are listening, our blackout curtain for the window in our studio just fell. So, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you clearly saw that. But thank you, Brian, for help putting that back up. If it's too much of trouble, dude, you don't have to deal with it. Just fucking leave it down. It's all good. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is being an actor, and we gauge our show to an inside look at Hollywood, and it's hard for us, you and I, we have the advantage of being on both sides of the aisle. We have gone into auditions and we have auditioned, and now we have curated auditions, and we have produced and directed and stuff. So where do you find that line? And having both sides of the experience, what advice or what kind of notes can you give for like other actors out there that are kind of struggling and going? Because the audition process is a fucking painful, tedious one, dude.
Man, it's grueling.
It's probably the single thing that disheartens most actors. I feel like
it is. You know, it's good you brought that up. I tell people, like, I might have brought this up in the last show, I don't remember, but like when I first came out here, the first year and a half, I was acting, like trying to get into acting. I was actually trying to book stunt gigs, didn't get any. So, but I booked a few acting gigs and like a feature or two, and then some short films and stuff. And I wasn't getting a lot of auditions or even bookings or anything really. You know, I was self-submitting as well. I had the agents, managers, they weren't really doing much, like a lot of people say around here. So I took it upon myself. I went to film school, and I've always been interested in writing, directing, producing, and starring or acting in my own stuff. And it wasn't until that time period, once I did that and made that change up, to where I started seeing results. I started getting momentum from that. So that was kind of like a game changer for me. So I think everybody who's out here in the business, who's trying to get into, if it's acting, for instance, I think creating your own work is huge. You know, it can open up so many doors and connections. I mean, obviously having an agent or connection to get to a bigger audition for like Jurassic World, obviously you need that, you know, for the most part.
Well, Chris Pratt talks about the only reason, well, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons he did Guardians of the Galaxy is to get a role like Jurassic World. Because I don't know if you know this, Marvel does not pay their fucking stars very well.
Really?
Not at all. Like Chris Pratt, I think probably got like $2 million for fucking Guardians.
Really? So
yeah, and no back end. Like the only one who gets paid bank is fucking Robert.
Well, so networking,
he just started the franchise.
Networking and exposure then is what got
right. Well, then he got $20 million for Jurassic World.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
See? Yeah, you do the one to get the exposure and become the star, and then you do the one to get the paycheck, and then if you want, you do the independent indie movie to do your artistic fucking thing.
Yeah.
He also did Guardians before anybody knew he could actually act. Before that, he was the guy from Parks and Rec.
Right. Very true.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and after Guardians is what got him Passengers, too,
right.
with J-Lo, or J-Law. Sorry,
Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah. I meant J-Lo. Anyways, yeah, so that's kind of how this business worked. But one of the things I was going to touch on, too, is you brought up a good point. I really feel it's important to tell young up-and-coming actors this, is do not get discouraged by auditions. No. And I'll bring the example up about that male role for your film. We had, how many contenders? At least 3 to 4 out of 10 to 20 that auditioned. That 3 to 4 that we narrowed it down to. And that was like, all of these could work. All of these guys could carry this role and do a good job. But really then it comes to just a vision thing. Like, how do you see the film? What tone do you want to put? What's the look? How does that look work with other characters' look? So when the decision-making process comes, you could bring your A game to an audition, and it really is just that last 20% that's just out of your hands.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not... I want to reiterate this, not a personal thing. It's not you didn't have the chops thing. It's 100% like it just doesn't fit for this particular project.
Right. It's like character look too. And there's so many different aspects that come to. That's why the film world industry and acting also is so much different from any other job, application. Technically you're going in for a job interview. So, but this is the only job really where it's like they take into account, what you look like for the job. And it's not so much, so like, yeah, you can be great at acting, but like, when I say what you look like, not necessarily that you look like bad or you're ugly or whatever you think, but like you don't fit that character role of like how the tone of the film's supposed to look, like that personality, the persona, what an actor can carry as a character. So that's something that will come into play when you're casting somebody. And you don't have any control of that. That's just who you are. I mean, you can act, but like you don't have the way you look for the most part. It's like, that doesn't fit the character role, it doesn't fit it, so you're not going to get the job.
Dude, I told this story on this show before, but I'll tell it really quick again. Yeah. When I auditioned for Les Mis when I was 10 years old, I went to an open call audition. Mom, do you want to tell the story? You don't want to talk a lot. You want to tell it? Tell it. Go ahead.
Well, from my perspective, sitting in the audience.
You were there.
He was 7. And we were in New York. And no, we were in Miami.
Miami was the first one,
Miami was the first audition that we did. And sitting up there, they had probably, 50 kids up there.
On like a stage, like a theater stage.
Gavroche and for Cosette. So they did their singing. Actually, before they even started singing. Now, we've waited hours and hours outside, waiting to get in.
Like 5-6 hours at least.
Me sitting outside just waiting to do this. And they stood everybody up on the stage. And the guy walks through and taps you on the shoulder and says, "Too tall, too short, too blonde, too red. Thank you very much."
No, it's everybody in line and just do cut.
And kids came out crying, and it was like a big ordeal. Devin, fortunately, was saved. He was not cut, so we went on to the next round.
It was just my dashing good looks.
I mean, that's part of it. It was the look.
Yeah.
It was the look. It was how tall they were, how short they were, the color of their hair, or their body frame, or whatever it was. I mean, that took precedence first. That's been going on forever.
So I don't think when people come from like places where that doesn't happen in the professional world, like let's say, the kid in Iowa or Idaho or whatever the fuck, with some BFE town in the middle of nowhere that really wants to be a filmmaker or an actor or a writer or whatever. There's such a small pool that they don't encounter that, and to get that rejection right off the bat is kind of what causes, I feel like, a lot of people to get disheartened about this industry, and that's the notorious, I'm gonna move to Hollywood, and then you fail. But it's really, I mean, from my perspective, I feel like consistency and a good attitude will guarantee you work in this town. I've heard one thing consistently from everybody that I interviewed on this show, and when we went to Clusterfest and all the stand-up comics, I always ask them, I go, we gear our show to up-and-comers in the industry. Do you have any words of wisdom to leave them with or advice to newcomers? And it's always the same thing, dude. Always. And it's always just be nice to people. Yes. He's like, be nice and be grateful and appreciative and keep at it. Keep working, because you will. I can tell you from those 4 that we narrowed down, I remember each and every one of them. Amen. And I have their contact info. So if there's another project that comes up and they would fit that part, I'm going to reach out to them directly. Right. Vice versa. The same thing.
Exactly.
So even though they killed the audition, they might not have been right for that part, but you never know what happens down the road.
No, I agree. It's all good.
Never give up. Just don't give up.
No, it's about that.
Just keep moving on.
And on that note, our blackout curtain fell again.
No, it's
so
all,
never good on guys.
People are attracted to people that are, like you said, nice, and people who are down to earth and cool. If you're rude, you have an attitude. Be like, for me, I want to work with you. There's too many people out there who want to work.
There's an oversaturation of people in this industry.
Yeah,
and LA alone, I believe, has 500,000 plus registered SAG actors.
Really?
Yeah. Imagine that. This city is 20 million people in this city, but in 500,000 out of 20 million, not that much. But if you go in the entertainment industry, you take 500,000. How many people are in Tampa? Probably 2 million in the whole Bay Area, 3 million. 500,000 of those.
Yeah, dude.
That's the
trying to do
huge.
the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
there ain't 500,000 shows out there. I'll tell you that. At least not ones that pay well.
Yeah, it's a mountain to climb. It's such being an entrepreneur in general. What's what you are in this business. I think it's extremely hard, obviously. So hats off to anyone who tries to take that on. But especially in the acting world, the freelance world like that, it's just so hard. I mean, it's a mountain to climb. It's you just have to be consistent and go for what you want. But I have a question for you, because we're talking about this. So what do you think, on your opinion, about people who come here and they go through the audition process and they get, disheartened and they get discouraged and stuff? What do you suggest they do? Because I told you what I did. Now I'm making my own content. So and I hate the audition process, but I eliminate it for the most part. I just get my own funds and I do my own thing. So I don't have to worry about that. Obviously it takes me maybe a year and a half to make a feature now. And it's my second one, but for the most part, I can create something or be in a movie that I want to be in as a lead or something, and then also direct it, write and produce it. And I don't have to worry about that for the most part, even though it's not a Jurassic World, like a $90 million movie. But what would you suggest to people to overcome that?
Adaptability. Adaptability is your biggest asset in this industry, because for a couple of reasons. I mean, I'll use me for an example real quick, because I can only speak on my own behalf. I started in this entertainment industry as a musical theater performer. Dude, if you asked me 10 years ago that I would be the host and producer of a radio show, I would have laughed in your face. I would have been like, aha, yeah, okay. It's not me. That's just not that's not my skill set. It's not what I enjoyed. I didn't know anything about it. It's just I wasn't drawn into that. So over the years, obviously, I had my own film company in Florida and started down this road. And then when I came out here, I wanted to really exclusively be a film producer, a writer, and do some acting work amazingly. But I really love producing and writing. Those are my true passions. It's like when I see a good scene to come together, or when I see a good thing and a team happen, those are the magic moments to me. I don't need to be in front of the camera. I'm over the look at me age. Yeah. It really is more about the work to me personally. But starting at Skitbags, that was my role. It was film producer, TV producer, and basically writer and producer, and host of all of our meetings and our creative stuff. But we had the opportunity to get this amazing show on Dash, and thank you to Dash for giving us this opportunity, because it's really opened so many more doors than I ever thought possible. Yeah. And what I said is I love doing this. I never knew that I was going to love doing this until I did it. And I was telling them, well, we went and ate before this, and I was, we're sitting down eating brunch, and I was like, look, everyone was like, why do you want to record a radio show on your birthday? It's Sunday. Don't you want to like go out Sunday fun day, go to the beach, do something, blah, blah, blah. Our good friend Brett Newton is having his going away party right now that we're going to after this. He's moving to Atlanta, and he's been on the show before too. Shout out to LA Reels. We love you guys. Yo. But, the reason I wanted to do this is because this is what I love to do. If I wanted to do my birthday present to myself is to do what I love to do. And, sitting here on the mic, and maybe it's my fucking vanity of hearing myself talk, but, but, at the same time, I'm just like, I didn't know I had a skill set for this until I really started focusing on the interest of it, and then I developed it. It's taken us since October, November, when we started this show, until the past 2 months to really get into a rhythm and have a structure, have a format, have a good banter with guests, things like that. And that's one of the things I noticed when we went to Clusterfest is when I was interviewing guests, I could play tennis with them, if that makes a good analogy sense, much more than I would previously, because as a performer, I was mainly focused on performing and doing my job, speaking my lines. And when you improvise and you're doing a collaborative medium like this, you really have to understand how everything works. And if you're a young filmmaker, if you're an actor, and you want to get yourself a gig, go make a short video online. The iPhone has a good enough fucking camera, and you can get Premiere for $20 a month on your MacBook to go learn how to fucking edit. I never edited a damn thing until I came to Los Angeles. But now I fucking shoot. I was the cameraman at Clusterfest, me and Neil. I edited half the shit, me and Neil. We split it up, and I was also the interviewer, the producer. You have to be versatile. You got to be able to switch between everything, because the cost is so low. Yes. And the expertise is not required that much anymore. You're not dealing with film. You're not dealing with, the technical gear that is very intricate. Yeah. Everything is so simple and streamlined that I feel like versatility and adaptability is your biggest asset. So if you come out here and you want to be an actor or an actress, be prepared to be a radio show host. Or whatever it takes to get the fucking foot in the door. Be prepared to be a fucking producer and a director. Which you came out, you want to be a stuntman. I remember you telling me that shit in Florida.
In acting, yeah.
Yes, you want to be an actor and a stunt guy. And then came out here and look at how fucking well you've done. Well, because of necessity, though. Right?
Well, it's like, it's like you're saying adaptability. It's like you have to fight to survive and what you want to do. You can't. And look at it as like a boxer. You look at Floyd Mayweather. He's the best thing. I'm not comparing him to look at some boxers. Mayweather's a great example. His biggest strength, in my opinion, is being able to adapt to a fighter, change
100%
to be able to win the fight. So it's like you can't just keep doing the same thing because you're gonna get the same results. So if you're going out to tons of auditions but you're not booking anything, your agent's not doing anything for you, what you do is sit there on the couch dude, you gotta make something. You gotta start acting your own stuff and putting it out there, doing something.
That's the story of Rob McElhenney, the guy who created It's Always Sunny. I was watching a interview with him, and he said, he was an actor in New York, and he had been on some spots with, Law and Order and a couple other TV shows, like some guest appearances and single 2 or 3 episodes here and there. But he wasn't getting any work when he moved out here, and he was bitching to his manager and agent about it. And his manager and agent just got so fed up, they were like, fine, you're not getting work? Just fucking make your own work. Write something. And what did he do? He wrote the pilot, and him and his 2 friends, Charlie and Glenn, who plays Dennis, Charlie Day and Glenn Howerton, they got together and they filmed a 2-minute to 10-minute pilot. I can't remember which it was. It was 3 scenes, and each of them were 2 to 3 minutes. And that was the pilot for It's Always Sunny, and that became the premise of the show. And their agents took that and shopped it around, and based on that alone, which they shot literally for less than $5, they borrowed a camera from somebody, and all they had to pay for was the tape. and they did everything else themselves, and they cut it together, did it all for cheap. You know, he said, he goes, we got picked up by FX, and in my first season, like I was, you know, he was the creator of the show, and then the three of them wrote it together. So it was basically the three of their show, and in the first season, he was still waiting tables at a restaurant here in LA. So he's like, I don't know if this show doesn't get picked back up again. I need my fucking waiting job to pay the bills. So he's like, I don't want to quit this and lose the job. So can you imagine that, being on FX, a star of a show you created, and then still waiting tables? And that's the story. Those stories are the type of stories that I tell people. That's the will and the drive that you have to make it in this town.
No, it's so cutthroat. No, I agree. But like, it's always changing. Like I would have never thought before I came here. I had no intentions. I never thought of ever writing scripts. Never. And I have like 6 written feature-length scripts. That was never my intention. It wasn't at a time when I was really a writer. I learned to write screenplays by reading a lot of screenplays of favorite movies of mine. That's how I taught myself. But like, you have to be able to adapt, is my point is. So you're not getting acting work. Write your own script, produce it, direct it. And I've heard other people, even I've heard acting coaches, I've heard they're filmmakers, obviously they're directors, but people say, that's what people said, you know, like, create your own stuff, and you want to act your own movie, you know, make your own stuff, you do it cheap. So
I always told Devin, you know, going out to LA is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
You got to be in your mind present that you're a tiny minnow in a shark pool, and if you can get through that and adapt to that, you might make it.
Yeah.
Well, I have to give, on my birthday, I have to give a big shout out and a big thanks to the executive producer of the show, the founder, the owner, the fearless leader of Skitbags, Mickey Gooch Jr. Thank you, Mickey, so much, because it's because of Mickey that those doors are opened for me. Truthfully, it's because of Mickey that I have this show. It's because of Mickey that we went to Clusterfest and interviewed all these celebrities. It's because of Mickey that, you know, I was telling this story the other day with Dom Burns, who's the producer of Madness and the Method, which is Jason Mewes' new movie coming out, directorial debut. And Dominic and I are friends, and we were out a couple weeks ago, and I was like, dude, it's so crazy that, like, a month ago, if you guys don't know this, I and a couple of our team members here, Neil included, had the honor of going over to some post-production studios and doing ADR work for the film. So our voices are in the film. Like, we're not in it, but we're in the voice of crowds, and there's certain lines that reporters yell out that, you know, we're in there. You'll hear us. But, you know, we're not stars of the show, but at the same time, after it, I was chilling with Dom, and I'm like, dude, Dom, do you know that, like, Jay and Silent Bob changed my comedic life? Like, it opened my mind to come, because when that came out, when do you think we were, like, sophomores or juniors in high school?
Yeah, like
right around that time, though. We were definitely, we weren't seniors. I mean, we weren't freshmen. It was like somewhere in the middle. And I remember that because me and Holbrooks for senior year were Jay and Silent Bob for Halloween, and he was Jay and I was Silent Bob, and I got into the character. I didn't speak for the whole fucking Halloween party until like once or twice a night when Holbrooks would be saying something to me, and I'd be like, the sign on the back of the truck says Critters of Hollywood, you dumb fuck, and then I just go quiet and go back smoking a cigarette the whole time.
That's shocking.
But yeah, imagine how much I'm talking now, and I could shut the fuck up for a character.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Your whole life.
It's acting, yo. It's acting. But that's what I'm saying. So it was surreal because I'm talking with Dom after this, and I'm like, I never would have thought being in a costume that then now my voice would be in their movie. Like, that's where the magic becomes real. And it also happened when I was sitting and talking with Dante. Dante Bosco is sitting in the seat you're in right now, and we were interviewing him. And if you don't know, Dante Bosco played Rufio in the movie Hook. And me and my cousin Michael, shout out Michael Scanio, love you, brother. We were Pan, he was Pan and I was Rufio when we were, God, fucking 6, 7,
5,
8, something like that.
4
Like,
or 5.
infants in this world. But I was like, I remember how much joy that movie brought me as a child. And then now, coming back full circle, I'm sitting across the room talking with somebody about that. So those moments are the moments you live for. At least the ones that I do. I love a good creation of a project. That moment is what I live for. but also is like the nostalgic stuff. Is like, I never would have thought I'd be just chilling. Like, we're going to be broadcasting live from the Madness in the Method premiere. So we'll be on the red carpet broadcasting live on Dash. Shout out. But I'll be hanging out with Kevin and fucking Jason and Danny Trejo and Vinny Jones and Gina Carano and fucking Stan Lee. Stan Lee is in the movie, and if he's fucking 90-something years old ass can get out to the premiere, I'm gonna get to meet Stan fucking Lee, like the godfather of billions of dollars of content. Yeah. You know, and amazing storylines and character arcs and all kinds of shit, you know? So that right there is just crazy. And that those moments are, you know, those are what inspire me, and that's why I do this, you know?
When's the premiere?
It's we don't have a day locked down yet. So as soon as we know, you will know. You're obviously invited. It is I want to say the later end of July is what we're shooting for.
Oh, that's soon.
It'll either end of July, beginning of August, something like that. I want to say, and I'm thinking Egyptian. I don't know for a fact.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the deal is. It might be actually ArcLight. It really kind of
good theaters, yeah.
It really just determines on what they want to do, and I have nothing to do with that. By the way, I'm just, you know, that's all their team. I'm just a fan, you know, helper, friend, coworker, helper. But you know, if it wasn't for fucking Mickey, I wouldn't know Dom, because Mickey is in that fucking movie, which he knocks out of the fucking park. By the way, Mickey's hilarious in it. He plays the cop trying to go after Jason Mewes for committing all his crimes.
Really?
Yeah. The premise of the movie is, I'm not going to give away spoilers, but Jason Mewes wants to become a legitimate actor in Hollywood. So everybody plays themselves. All the celebrities play like a version of themselves. Jason Mewes is playing himself. So it's Madness in the Method. So he tries to become a method actor. So if he has to become a drug dealer, he has to like deal drugs. If he has to become a dancer, he has to like learn how to dance. If he has to play a murderer, he has to actually murder somebody. So he does these things for parts, and obviously hilarity ensues, and it's this chaos event, and you know, all this stuff. So it's great. You should check it out when it comes out, guys.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a great fucking premise, man. And Jay did a really good job. I was really surprised by his directing ability. I say that like I'm surprised. His best friends with fucking Kevin Smith. I shouldn't be surprised, but you know, I had never seen that side of him before. You know, he had never shown interest in like creating content from behind the camera. He was always the one in front of it, doing the improv, making great acting, and doing funny. And shout out, did you guys see the new Drake video that just got released like a week ago? I'm Upset. It's all about Drake going back to Degrassi. And I didn't even know this, but Jay and Silent Bob characters were on Degrassi for like years. So Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes are just like in the Drake video doing the old Jay and Silent Bob thing, saying fuck, motherfuck, motherfuck, noise, drinking beers, rolling fatty, smoking blunts, smoking blunts. Who smoked the blunts? You smoked the blunts? I don't know. I can't remember the rest.
I remember those.
But that's like their notorious MO thing, you know? Anyway, so I love it. I think to circle back to your question, if you're coming out here, a fucking adaptability, man, and be nice. Like, this town is riddled with assholes and riddled with self-absorbent people, and those get filtered out real quick. So if you come out here and you think you're hot shit, Hollywood's got a long walk home for you.
Exactly. No, and there's so many talented people I've met out here with just, you know, other people I've seen some other actors who are so talented, but like they're just not, I don't know, they're not working much. It's like, it's a business. I don't know what they're doing, but like, there's some people who are working a ton, you know, but might not be as good. Well, it's just a different crazy business.
To bring us home, I'll end the question that I always end with all my celebrity guests. To you, Mr. Keith Sutliff, writer, director, producer, actor, entrepreneur, what words of wisdom do you have for the up and coming out there? For that kid that's moving here, the guy, the girl, the whatever that's coming out here to make it on their own in this industry?
Come here with the same attitude. The attitude I had coming here, and this is what I'm going to say is, come here with the same type of attitude is, you know, you have no choice. You're packing all your stuff. You're going to come out here to follow your dream and what you want in life, your ambitions and stuff. You have no choice but to, you know, make those dreams or wherever you come out here a reality. So it's kind of like what I've heard Mike Tyson said about winning the heavyweight championship because his trainer died, Customato. And he said something similar, like, I didn't have another alternative. I had to win that title. I was groomed as from age like 14 to 20 from the best trainer in the world to win the title after he passed away, and he wasn't there anymore. I had no choice. Like, that was like my life goal, or my life, my destiny in life. So you have to come here with that type of attitude, and I think work harder than you've ever worked before. And, just don't take no for an answer, and it's gonna, no matter how hard and exhausting it is, just keep pushing forward and don't take no for an answer, because you have all the odds weighed against you. So there's more rejection. You're gonna see more rejection for the most part, at least in the beginning, but everything's weighed against you. So you just have to not, take no for an answer, and just have the mindset that you're gonna win. That's it. I think persistence.
All I do is win.
Motivation.
Yeah.
It's the same as even like a professional athlete. That same type of attitude. Like, hey, I'm here to win. You're gonna win. You have to be confident and go out for you.
I think that attitude is a muscle that needs to be worked out, and you gotta flex it. And if you don't, it's like an aspect of your willpower. And if you're not prepared to fucking sleep on somebody's couch and fucking work 4 jobs and do whatever the fuck it takes, Jim Carrey slept in a closet when he came out here. That's what, if you go watch I'm Dying Up Here on Showtime right now, it's all about, he produces it, but it's all about his experience at the Comedy Store when he first came from Canada and came out here doing impressions. Jim fucking Carrey, and he's like, I slept in a closet in somebody's fucking house, not like on the floor of their bedroom, like in their closet, while the guy and the girl slept in their bedroom and would bang and stuff. So, like, that's, he did that for like 8 months to a year. And he's working, fucking $5 doing a comedy set, doing this like a bit scraping by, and he's phenomenal talent, but you have to be prepared for that. And if you come out here with money and you're just like, oh, I'm just going to go out there, you're going to half-ass it. I feel like you need that struggle. Like, if you don't have that struggle, you're not willing to fight for it as hard as it needs to be fought for.
Right. No, I agree. 100%.
Well,
don't give up on your dreams.
Yes. And on that note, what's up with the Refuge? Can people follow you? Can people find out information? Can they support you? What's going on with that?
Yeah, I won't have like a website and Facebook. I'll have to apply post-production, which will be in October. We start filming in September.
Right.
But yeah, you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, website, Instagram.
KS Pictures?
Yes, KS Pictures LLC. But I'm really looking forward to this film. It's basically, for people know, it's about a getaway driver. The movie centers around a getaway driver, which I play, and it's about this casino heist money. So this getaway driver, that's what he does for his job, right? He ends up taking on a gig, what's involving this casino heist money, where this guy wants him to get this money, and it leads to all these, I don't want to ruin the story, but it leads to all these bad things from there that start happening to him and people he knows. And yeah, so it's a story about greed.
Hopefully it leads to a refuge.
There you go. Refuge really, I mean, safe haven.
Oh, is that what the definition is?
It's safe haven, and that's essentially, I named it on purpose because the safe haven is his car. His getaway car. That's like cool. That's his refuge. Does that make sense?
Totally.
That's his safe haven. That's like his. It's like, a horseback rider being like that horse is his.
Or a sailor in his ship.
A sailor in a ship. Yeah, that's a better analogy or whatever. But that's kind of where the premise came from. But it's about greed. It's a story about greed. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I knew it was about greed. I wish you would have told me that little insight before we did auditions together. It wouldn't have affected me.
No.
But I finally connected that dot, unfortunately.
It takes place in Los Angeles, though.
Which you're shooting it very 90s-esque. Like you said.
Yeah,
like, not, are you shoot digital or you shoot on film? Digital? Yeah.
Like
fucking money on film.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Unless you're Quentin Tarantino and shooting 70 mil.
Yeah.
70 millimeter fucking shit.
Right.
But yeah, dude. Like always, thank you so much for being here, Keith. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to work with you on this project.
Thanks for coming on board, dude. It was a pleasure having you. I trust you as a friend. It'd be great to work with you.
I'm so glad. Here's another moment we get to share as we went to high school together, and now look at us in fucking Hollywood making moves like a couple fucking badasses over here.
That's right, man.
See, never give up.
That's right, dude. Never.
Never give up. You never know what this world can hold.
Keep pushing forward and happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so
Pleasure to
much.
be here on the birthday and just talking. And
Yeah, absolutely. We'll sign out. We'll go around. We'll say goodbye to everybody, and I'll close us out. But yeah, no, Keith, you got any social media you want to plug?
Not just like Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then my website. And yeah, stay tuned to more updates as film goes on, and we hit production in September. And once post production comes along, there'll be a lot of stuff being come out for press and on social media and through just news articles and stuff.
Well, you will definitely be back on then, so we can talk about the whole process and promote your fucking new movie.
Let's do it, man.
And hopefully we'll see Keith's face on the side of many more buses like we saw last time.
We'll see.
I remember Neil was telling me he was at a stoplight and your fucking face just passed by on a bus. And he was like, was that fucking Keith? What?
Hey, only in LA, only in Hollywood land or Los Angeles, you get that that reality.
Yeah, so come the fuck out here, yo. Why you guys sleeping? Yeah. Or make your own Hollywood wherever you are around the world.
Yeah.
The show is international. I keep forgetting that. All right. Thank you, Keith. B, thank you, brother.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I really appreciate you coming on. I know you wanted to watch the game. I know. You took time, so thank you. I appreciate you and everything you do. I love you. And Ma, thank you for DJing over here. How'd that work for you? Was you able to figure it out? How's this gonna look? Is this gonna look like shit?
Yeah, well,
later?
we'll see. We'll see. I can talk on the, I can do the DJ part much better than I can do the, video part. I can tell you that. I miss radio now that I'm here for a moment.
Yeah, little known
really
fact.
cool.
I probably
Yeah.
get my hosting skills from this woman right here, who was herself a radio show host on Smooth Jazz 94.1. Back when it was 94.1 in Tampa and not Wild 94.1. Well, it was Smooth Jazz channel.
Wild
Really?
was down the hall.
Yeah, I used to go.
So-
She had the midnight to 4 a.m. shift,
5.
right? From midnight to 5, and I would go in on like a Friday or Saturday to work with her, and I would go hang out in the Wild booth right next door. So Wild would be
Wild taught me how to spin records.
I didn't know that.
Wild.
I was
Also
Smooth Jazz.
taught me
Really?
how to talk to a stripper and take shots. Next time.
Yeah, I wasn't in there for that part.
Yeah, she's like doing Smooth Jazz in one booth, and literally the booth next door. There's like it's
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday night for the hip hop station in Tampa, and we're just like going ham.
Yeah,
Well, it was great. Thank you for that,
it was
Mom.
fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed those times.
awesome. Well, yeah, I missed having you on the mic. You gotta come through more. All right, everyone out there, thank you so much for listening. We'll
Happy
wrap up this
birthday.
episode. Oh, thank
Happy
you
birthday,
guys.
sir.
I'm doing what I love with the people I love the most. So go out there right now. Get First We Take Brooklyn. That's out on DVD. Shout out to our boy Kyle Stefanski. Go to Netflix and check out The Clapper, starring Ed Helms, Amanda Siegfried, Russell Peters, Adam Levine, and our very own Mickey Gooch Jr. Also, that just dropped at Cannes. It's coming out in theaters. If it's not out in theaters already, is Gotti, fucking boss of all bosses, starring John Travolta and his lovely wife. Directed by Kevin Connolly. Amazing movie. Our boy Kyle Stefanski's in that as well. So shout out to them, and of course we'll keep you updated with all the posts on Madness and the Method with Jason Mewes, Kevin Smith, and the whole crew. Everyone out there, go follow our YouTube channel. That's where you get all the behind the scenes exclusives. You can see our Clusterfest interviews with Bert Kreischer, Mark Norman, Nikki Glasser, Jim Jeffries, Sam Morrell, Roy Wood Jr. We got the fam up in there, and YouTube is the only place you're going to be able to find that out. So go ahead and go subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Skitbags Radio. And on that note, I wanted to thank everyone around here, and it's time to go get lit at Brett's party, right?
Let's go.
Let's
have some
go!
beers, man.
All right, Skitbags Radio, we out! Woo!